Welcome back to Looney Tunes land, where MSNBC says whatever they want, and if you correct them, you're a racist. In their latest, Trump's confusion about Puerto Rico stymies disaster relief bill. Well, first, Steve. Trump is not a congressman or senator. He's not stymieing anything. You know what stymied it? Democrats wanted to take aid for continental southern states out of the bill and give it away to someone else, and that stymied the bill. Democrats wanted to change it, and that blocked it. That stymied it. Not President Trump, House Democrats. Traditionally, congressional work on disaster relief legislation has been pretty straightforward. In the wake of a catastrophe, lawmakers tend to endorse federal aid to affected areas. Every year, Congress will tackle contentious issues and heavy lifts, but these bills are supposed to be easy, at least in theory, that is. Yesterday, the Senate took up a disaster relief bill proposal written to extend federal assistance to communities affected by hurricanes, wildfires, and flooding. It needed 60 votes to advance and received 44. You know, that tells me you need to talk to 16 senators, not the president. There's no great mystery as to what derailed the legislation. Democrats want increased support for hurricane-ravaged Puerto Rico. Donald Trump doesn't, and so the process has come to a halt. No, it has not. Talk to the Senate. There are more than 44 Republicans or Democrats. That means it wasn't partisan. Okay? Members of both parties voted for this. You need to convince 16 more to vote for it. You don't need to blame President Donald Trump for what the Senate is or is not doing. For his part, the president has been eager to defend his position, publishing a series of tweets on the subject last night. So the people of Puerto Rico are great, but the politicians are incompetent or corrupt. Puerto Rico got far more money than Texas or Florida combined, yet their government can't do anything right. The place is a mess, nothing works. FEMA and the military worked emergency miracles, but politicians like the crazed and incompetent mayor of San Juan have done such a poor job of bringing the island back to health. $91 billion went to Puerto Rico, and now the Dems want to give them more, taking dollars away from our farmers and so many others. Puerto Rico got $91 billion for the hurricane, more money than has ever been gotten for a hurricane before, and all of their local politicians do is complain and ask for more money. The polls are grossly incompetent, spend the money foolishly or corruptly and only take from the USA. I'm not even going to read the whole thing because, like reading Silica or Acosta or Cooper or Maddow, any of them, I get a headache. I get a headache pretty quick. It's very simple. The hurricane hit, and it did not only hit Puerto Rico. Yet only Puerto Rico had Carmen Yulín Ruiz standing and giving a public statement decrying the refusal to send the needed aid and supplies while standing in front of pallets full of it. Only Puerto Rico had trucks not delivering aid. There was a U.S. Naval Hospital ship there as soon as it was safe to send them. But of course, they complained it wasn't sent sooner. Were they supposed to send it through the wall of a hurricane, where it would most likely be damaged beyond repair and never reach you? Where has the $91 billion gone? Instead of asking that question, they put the governor of Puerto Rico on, who physically threatens the president because, of course, he didn't send us $182 billion. He only sent us $91 billion. I can tell you, had $91 billion been sent to Texas, we would have sent back billions of dollars. Had 91 billion been sent to Louisiana, Mississippi, Florida, Georgia, billions would have been sent back. Why is it the tiny little island of Puerto Rico needs $91 billion? I'll tell you. Because for decades, their politicians have ignored the infrastructure on the island. The roads, primitive. The electricity grid, primitive. All other infrastructure, primitive. so that one big hurricane like we saw can literally knock them back to the Stone Age. Now you'll notice the governor, Mayor Yulin Ruiz, they're still living normal lives because they have generators and their homes were reinforced while their people suffer. They don't care about anything but power. They're being coached by the Washington, D.C. Democrats and the D.C. Swamp Democrats' masters on how to properly make it look like Trump is doing absolutely nothing. How to avoid talking about the $91 billion sent to you. How to make it look like you need $200 billion so that we can funnel that where we need it to go. They're being coached on how to lie, although they don't need much coaching. They're Democrats. That's all they do. Puerto Rico should already be well past halfway to full recovery based on the amount of money that has been sent, along with FEMA and military aid and personnel sent. You could have sent the Army Corps of Engineers and the Seabees to Puerto Rico, and we would see cities almost springing out of the dust. Those two teams, best at what they do. Why does the Democratic leadership in Puerto Rico not talk about the FEMA work or the military work that's been done in their country? Because that would actually show that President Donald Trump did send aid. Why don't we have those pictures anymore of Carmen Yulin Ruiz standing in front of pallets full of aid as she decries the lack of compassion by Donald Trump? And it's all a political game. Every bit of it is. They're going to keep this going until 2020, when all of a sudden we may see Puerto Rico suffer another disaster, or, God forbid, the body count suddenly rises. And it's all because the evil Donald Trump didn't send them any more money. And no one will even ever question that it's not Donald Trump's job to write that bill. Barack Obama famously made his desires and his stance on issues very, very well known. But Steve here and Matt Al, Acosta, Cooper, the rest of them, they couldn't care less that Democrats heard what Barack Obama wanted and fell in line. But when Donald Trump says something and Republicans say, okay, we're going to go along with that, Trump is suddenly obstructing aid to Puerto Rico. This is a pattern that has repeated itself for nearly 100 years. The Democrats have tried to impeach every GOP president for decades. Now, while I can't personally speak to anyone before Ronald Reagan due to my age, I know that Nixon resigned, and Nixon should have resigned. But Nixon resigned because of a few minutes of tape being erased, while former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton skates free and is touring the world violating the Logan Act while trying to overthrow the government, and she deleted thousands upon thousands of emails. Ronald Reagan suffered through Iran-Contra until Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North fell on his sword and was then summarily taken out of the Marine Corps and had to move on with his life. George W. Bush, they tried to impeach him. They tried to kick him out for the Electoral College. He must have destroyed those votes in Florida. When they had the votes, they weren't legally cast. This time, they're trying a different tack. They're trying, Donald Trump isn't sending aid where it's needed, and he obstructed justice, and he colluded with Russia, and he's really an evil SOB. He might even be Russian. They've lost all self-control. This only proves it. This only proves that they care nothing about the truth. Because if they did, it would be, why did Democrats suddenly stymie this bill by saying, the people in America don't need any aid at all. We're going to take this aid out and we're going to put it where we want it. Look at the states they wanted to take aid away from. They're red states. So, of course, they wanted their pet blue island to be given more than the evil bigots in red states that actually value the life of an unborn child or don't obey the Democrats and vote blue. We're nearing the end. We know from Revelation that evil will be spoken of as good, good spoken of as evil. We know that there will be liars and deceivers to an extent never seen before. The world is fast approaching that time. And honestly, I really don't want to be here to see it when it gets to the end of it. But for now, we have a front row seat at the greatest circus on the planet. That being the United States mainstream media and their twists and turns of a phrase to say because Donald Trump was not silent completely, he's responsible for people in Congress not obeying the Democrats. Only an idiot could reach that conclusion. But I've talked long enough. Let me know what you think. Keep the comments classy, keep them civil. Of course, we do not learn anything from an argument, only from debate. Also, make sure to like the video and hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you stay up to date, so that when I'm finally done with my research and I'm able to jump down the rabbit holes I've got planned, you'll be the first to know. Until next time, have a wonderful night.